Yeah. It's going to be commentary for chapter 51 of my book, Metadimensional, which you can find on Kindle, listen to for free as an audiobook. Links are in the description. Chapter 51 is called The Fix. So, in the previous chapters, mainly on the previous chapter, I was kind of bashing science for the fact that it doesn't, what it claims to deliver doesn't stand up to the scrutiny of experiential evaluation. That the things it gives us aren't as good as science claims they are, if you assume that experience is fundamental. But you might think that this is like just nitpicking at best, if not just being hyperbolic about nothing. Now, the thing to understand here is that this reality where experience is fundamental is not just your current reality as you know it with a twist. Again, it changes everything. It turns everything upside down. When you consider reality as it is right now, you have several problems that you know of, such as climate change, such as the risks of AI, such as the risks that social media and AI posed on a political government, on democracy. And of course, in most of them, you can see the role that science had in it to make it worse, or at least you think you do. But the thing is, every time, for all of these problems, we're trying to find technological solutions. And then worse problems emerge. Case in point, nuclear technologies and bombs. So we have a situation where our solution to the problems we face produce even worse conditions to solve. And it might seem like this is just coincidence, like I'm just seeing patterns when there aren't any. But if you consider the reality where experience is fundamental, then a different picture begins to emerge. And in it, we're thinking that our reality exists out there, and all our everything that we have to face in terms of difficulties are necessary eventualities of that reality, which is true irrespective of whether we perceive it. And to some extent, it is true irrespective of whether I specifically perceive it, because it's a union. It's a wakeful union. It's a consensus of everyone, all the experiential agents in it. But it still doesn't stem from an objective truth. It stems from consensus, and it is powered by experience. That's what this theory claims. And what happens when you use science, when you lock us to a reality that has to obey science through the technology we use? Like, you don't do that by putting us behind bars. We just get addicted to, say, technology that the usage of that technology implies that we agree with a large collection of laws of nature and give away a lot of the degrees of freedom that we had we not had these laws of nature, had we not acknowledged these laws of nature. Now, we think that that's fine, that's like that we're not actually that we don't really agree on the laws of nature, that we actually discover them, they exist irrespective. But the theory says that they are not. And what the theory also shows is that the reason that reality works is not because of some reality, like a nature that exists and is reliable, and we have to accommodate to it, but rather that this nature is something that emerges from us, from our consensus. And if we leave out more places where there are no laws in our consensus, then it gives experience room to operate. Now, we assume that the experience doesn't do any of that, like doesn't change reality beyond the scope of, like, I don't know, what we can do with our bodies at most, like to raise our hands, to say something. But when this wakeful reality that we perceive is actually just a reflection of experience on the objective substrate, all the corners of the universe are equally something that experience produces to some extent. So if you're taking out experience out of the equation by adding more and more science, then you might, and this theory would suggest you do, take away the thing that keeps this reality in order, this wakeful reality in order, nature in order. Nature isn't in a stable situation where it is completely governed by by laws. It needs degrees of freedom. It is the evolutionary role of experience in this thing called experiential intersection to change nature every once in a while so that we can survive. And when we therefore science does is it locks us in an unsustainable nature. And this is not something that you can solve by through nature, through science, through more like you cannot fix. If let's say climate change is the result of an imbalance between experience and laws, then you cannot fix this with laws. But you cannot fix it with more science. But that doesn't mean we have to give up. Like I say, okay, either we use science to fix our reality, or we use nothing. We just give up, because we can't give up. We can't just leave. But rather that we need a different approach. Somehow, something that would recognize that, yes, science is good, it's useful, but it is not sufficient. Not in mental, on mental aspects. It's not sufficient on the natural aspects. It's not sufficient on the physical aspect. Like you can't keep reality that is stable, that can persist for a long time, only through confining it to laws. You have to keep degrees of freedom there for experience to alter and to adapt and to ensure it can survive. But how do you do that? That's a big question. How do you liberate the capacities of experience that would ultimately preserve nature, preserve our reality? Not on the level of individuals, on the level of the whole universe as we perceive it. It's not a trivial question.